Guys, welcome back to Impractically Practical.
What is up?
Where Adrian is always on his phone every time we start this. What's going on, guys? Today we have Joel Sandoval, CPA, the owner and founder of Sandoval Tax CPAs. You guys are from Bakersfield. You said your office is located in Southern California, but you guys are all over the U.S.
Yep.
Yeah, diversifying, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it's about. What's going on, Joel?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me on the show, man. Excited.
I missed part of your intro, but you have a passion for helping business owners save tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars through taxes.
That's right.
And you are also a fellow podcaster.
Yeah, I am.
Or would you consider yourself an influencer?
Not an influencer. I mean, I think everybody has an influence, regardless of whether you're an influencer or not. I mean, you influence your wife, you influence your kids, you influence your family. I mean, like all my family members, when I started being on social media, they'd be like, dude, you're effing famous. And I'm like, dude, I'm just getting started.
There we go.
Yeah.
Watch what's about to happen, huh?
You get a few likes and, oh, you're famous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept, though. Kind of like we're all influencers, and then like we're all salesmen, right?
Yeah.
We're all selling you on an idea, or
Exactly.
I sell myself on my excuses, or shit like that. We're all salesmen and influencers in a way.
Yeah.
100%, man. So you, how long you been in the business?
I've been in the accounting industry for since 2009, so 13, 14 years, but I didn't start my own business till 2016. So 7 years now.
So you're actually pretty known out here. I actually talk to people that are like, hey, you know Joel? I'm like, yeah, of course I know Joel.
Yeah.
Like, hey, have you listened to his podcast? I was like, I was actually on it.
Yeah.
But
He knows not listen to it.
Gabriel from the meat market.
Oh, yeah.
Gabriel, he was telling me about your podcast.
Yeah.
Rocky, Rocky?
Yeah.
Rocky, yeah. All these guys randomly like, oh, Joel. I'm like, yeah, I know Joel.
Yeah.
So you're pretty known. But for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, bro. Where do you come from? You a baller from birth, or?
Nah, no way. I'm actually from a small little Mexican town, Watsonville, California. It's like 95% Hispanics. If you were white, you were like considered rare there. So most of the people that live there, they they work in the fields, strawberry fields, a lot of strawberry fields, apple fields, and so it's a very humbling experience to come from a small town like that. And my parents actually, they did okay. They were not business owners; they're just regular W-2 earners. Like my dad worked at an auto parts store. My mom was just an escrow officer for a title company. So she was a little bit more successful. But I mean, still, they didn't own their own businesses. And so entrepreneurship for me was like nowhere in the books. Like there's like no one in my family that owns a business. And so I wanted to, your parents are your role models, right? So for me, I was like, my mom's doing okay. But I didn't really like what she was doing. I actually worked for her like after high school, and I was like, I don't know. And actually, it was bad timing too, because I started working for her during 2006, 2007 when the housing market crashed.
Boom.
Yeah, so everybody was losing their jobs, and I'm a 19-year-old kid, so they're gonna lay me off. So I quit before they laid me off. I was like, don't fire me.
Your mom laid you off?
No, thankfully not. No, actually, I quit. I said, as I mentioned, but I had met a CPA. I didn't even know what the hell a CPA was or
what does it stand for?
Certified Public Accountant.
Gotcha.
Because for me, like my parents always did their taxes, like the regular tax service, right? They would go, and I would go with them, and then they would be there an hour, and then they'd get their refunds, all happy, and that's what taxes were to me. So I was like, what the hell is a CPA? And so I had to learn about it, and it's a completely different world from just a regular tax service.
Do you still get excited about doing your own taxes?
No. No, actually, I'm really proud of the fact that every year I prepare less and less tax returns. So like this last year I only did 5, and it was like my closest friends and family, and that's it. Like most of my team does all the work now.
Gotcha. No, but I meant like I'm assuming you got to pay back.
Oh yeah,
like
actually paying taxes. Yeah. I thought you said like doing paying taxes.
Filing your own taxes.
I mean, nobody likes paying taxes, bro. But that's why the CPAs exist, right? To help you reduce them. I mean, like that's what we do. Is like on average, we save business owners $25,967 a year. I mean, if you multiply that between now and the time you retire, that's over hundreds of thousands of dollars that you kept in the bank.
So-
but we obviously do things legitimately. We do everything the right way. Some people don't do
Never
that.
mind, man. I can't.
You know?
So essentially, you're paying for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Or well, it pays for itself. The
Yeah,
service.
we always say our services are free. And we truly believe that because we don't want to be another expense to your business. Like, oh, dude, you're costing me money. Like, no, we don't want to cost you anything. We
Yeah,
want to
for
make sure we get you an ROI.
Yep. So something I forgot to mention also in your intro is you're a fellow musician as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro. You said you play the piano.
I do. Yeah, actually, I was in a conjunto. Back in the day, my dad is actually, I was born in music. My dad had a band since I was born. And so by that time I was 10, actually by the time I was 8, one of the members actually quit and he played the keyboard. So my dad's like, I'm going to put you in piano lessons. And by the time I was 10, I was part of the conjunto. And I played, it was fun. It's funny now seeing like old like videos, because I'm like a 10-year-old kid, playing, and it's like a big old crowd of people dancing. And it was like a trip, like looking back at myself.
Did you ever play without your dad?
I did, but
Like you never kind of did your own thing?
not really. I don't think I had enough passion in it. I enjoyed it by the time I was like when I was doing it. And then I got invited like when I was like 18, like, hey, you want to be part of my group? And I would play with them, but it wasn't like, I kind of had lost a little bit of passion already.
What genre did you guys play?
Basically Spanish music, like cumbias,
Okay.
rancheras.
Versátil?
Yeah. Versátil. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's my thing.
Yeah.
This guy has all the talents, man.
All the girls.
Uh,
We'll keep that off air.
I don't want my wife to,
Yeah, let's not get him in trouble.
Messing with you, man. So tell us a little bit more. So you grew up with a traditional style family. You went to college, right?
Yeah, I did.
Where'd you go to
I
school?
went to Cal State Bakersfield. So I left my hometown, Watsonville, went to Cal State Bakersfield. And I already knew, okay, accounting is the way that I want to go. And I always did pretty good in school. And so, by the time I graduated college, I actually got like multiple offers from big CPA firms. Actually, the one in this building, actually, I went to Brown Armstrong.
Gotcha.
They were interested in me. And I did, I went that traditional route. I worked for a CPA and I was like, this is fun, but I started kind of like, that's when social media, you started to learn things and stuff. And I think like Tai Lopez, I heard about Tai Lopez, Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it was like a whole new world to me because I was like, entrepreneurship, what is this, And then one thing that stuck in mind was like, hey, why do you want to climb? Why would you want to climb the corporate ladder when you can own the corporate ladder? And that to me was like, oh shit, I never really thought about it that way. Because I always wanted, like my parents were, for what I thought were successful, but they were always climbing the corporate ladder. And I'm like, dude, there's a ceiling with how much you can make.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want a ceiling. I was like, I wanna like the sky's the limit. But I mean, I didn't have any business skills. Like I was not a salesperson. I didn't know how to sell. I was scared to sell.
Well, we all sell, right?
We do, yeah, but it's a mindset thing. Like,
Yeah.
so for me, I was like, oh shoot, I have to sell. Like it was for me, it was awkward.
I always tell people that say like, I don't want to get into sales. I'm like, dude, you're selling every day. You sell yourself every day, right? Like when you have a conversation with someone, the moment you convince someone to do something, you're doing sales, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, it's more of a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Like, and then we all know that the real money is in sales, right?
Yeah.
100%. The real money is in sales.
Yeah. And I think the biggest shift for me was it's like, it's not selling. It's like, how can I serve you?
100%.
And I think when you have that mindset, it's like the money comes as a reciprocation of what you can offer to the client, and it's not selling anymore.
Yeah,
it's just like, let's just solve your problem.
Yeah, that purpose is bigger than, right? Once you like transition to that mindset of just instead of selling, now you're offering, providing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, and it's like, because everyone, they're coming to you with a problem. So, hey, can I help you solve that problem? Obviously, I can't do that for free. So here's my fee.
And what do they say? The bigger the problem you solve, the more
money you make.
The more money you make.
Yeah, exactly. So the big, that's how it goes. And so when I kind of had that mindset shift, sales wasn't really a problem anymore. It was just more like making sure that I could solve problems.
Well, I think if you consider yourself a salesperson, you're probably not a very good one.
Yeah, exactly.
You get what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah.
like you said, you never thought I'm gonna be a salesperson. It was more of like I'm gonna solve people's problems.
Yeah.
And sales is just part of it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what really the sales skills is like, okay, when someone is on the fence about whether they want to move forward with your product or not, now your sales skills come in. It's like again, it's like you're not going to convince them. You're just going to say like, this is what, if you decide to move forward, this is everything that we can solve, right?
100%.
And now it's like using your persuasion skills. I mean, you persuade everybody. You persuade your wife to like, hey, she didn't really want to go to the Niner game, let's
not talk about that.
So I had to like persuade her, you know. So everything's all persuasion.
So you sold her.
I did, yeah. I closed her, bro.
Closer school, baby.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, that's awesome. That's you hit a lot of good subjects there, bro. Because I've had that conversation with many people where they're like, dude, I just can't see myself doing sales.
Yeah.
So well, then don't do sales.
Yeah.
You know, just go talk to people.
Yeah.
That's already selling. You're selling yourself.
Yeah.
To whatever you're offering, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to touch on?
Yeah, no, just I have just two things noted. I feel like life's timing is like crazy, right? Like depending at what time that you go into something, can maybe like dictate your future, right? So like, do you think if maybe you would have gone into real estate with like working with your mom, maybe like 2012 or like after, you know, like after that market crash, you think it would have changed like your career at all? You think?
I mean, it could have. I think there was a Steve Jobs actually from Apple. He said, you have to have passion in whatever you're doing because, you know, shit's gonna get hard. So in order for you to get through that hump, whatever you're going through in life, you need to have passion. So you'd be like, I don't care how hard it is because I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing it, why I'm doing it.
Yeah, of
and
course.
so, and for me, real estate, I enjoyed it. I still actually have my real estate broker's license. And I own a couple rental properties. I just recently sold them.
So you're a big baller.
But for me, like my passion was always like numbers. Like numbers was like, it came easy to me. It was just like in my natural ability. So that's kind of where I wanted to go. So I'm you know, I think I got into that career path for a reason.
Mutual friend of ours said, Alejandro.
Oh yeah.
Aguilar, he said, have you ever noticed, he said this on the last podcast, he said, have you ever noticed that people jump from industry to industry?
Yeah.
It's because they don't believe in what they're providing.
Exactly.
And so you said real estate wasn't something you were going to be able to believe in.
Yeah.
Right? And so not necessarily buying it, but like as an agent or whatever. So you went towards the path of what you believe in. Now those problems that you have to solve on a day-to-day basis, business-wise, they don't seem so big because you're looking at the big picture.
Yeah.
The end goal, right?
Yeah, 100%. And they always like, people would ask me like, hey, if you got into real estate, you would be more successful, right? Because the commission checks are bigger or whatever. I'm like, you know what? I think that in every industry, there's successful and then there's people that suck. I mean, there's successful people in mortgage and people that suck in mortgage. There's successful people in accounting, people that suck in accounting. So it just, you know, you can be successful in anything that you do, but you have to make sure that you're obviously going all in, I think.
There's so many ways to make money.
Yeah.
That if you're if you're the best at your craft,
right,
you'll make it happen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you gotta. For me, I want to own my industry. Like I look at, you know, if we all have cell phones, right? And who owns that industry? I mean, it's basically Apple, right? Electric vehicles, there's a whole bunch, but who owns the market? Tesla. So, I mean, for me, it's like, all right, I want to be the biggest, you know, accounting firm in the whole country. So, I mean, how can I dominate that industry? And so that's really what my mission is.
With a team, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. There's no way you can do it by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, Apple's not just owned by one person. I mean,
yeah. So,
you own part of it?
What was that?
Like, do you have any stocks in Apple or anything like that?
I think I do. I own so many. I own like Google, Apple.
That's what
Netflix.
Ish, you know, Ish, right?
Yeah.
He came on, actually, his episode comes out this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was telling us that they're like, if you don't want to get into stocks and you're like really die, because I'm big on buying real estate, right? Like, I want to have real estate and stuff, whatever. And he was like, I get that. He's like, but at least buy like the stuff you shop at. So Apple, you know, Target, anywhere you shop at, buy stocks there. Because they're going to grow. Like, those are your safe bets, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the ones you're going to have for the long term.
I wish I would have, like, for me, with the stock market, the bad thing about it, like, you can't really look at the market because, like, I bought, like, for example, just to give you an example, I bought Netflix when Blockbuster was going bankrupt. And I put in, like, $2,000. That $2,000 turned into $70,000. And I actually cashed out, and then I used it as my down payment for my first house. This was, like, maybe 2013.
Shit, that was awesome.
I made him a huge mistake. I'll tell you why. Because had I not sold it, I would have actually been able to pay off my mortgage. It would have been worth $300,000 now. Yeah. But the thing is, you don't really know, you know,
and
how
imagine
the market's going
at
to
the
go.
time that you gave those $2,000, did you have the ability to like double it if you wanted to?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So imagine you would have put like $10,000 in there.
Oh, dude.
Jesus.
Yeah.
El hubiera no existe.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the stock market though, and I think if you believe in like Ish was saying in the company and their mission and stuff, you basically that's what you're doing. You're giving them capital. You're giving them your money so that they can invest it in advertising or whatever they want to do.
100%.
Awesome. No, this is a great talk. I guess now since we're done with that topic, I do want to backtrack. So after you left the escrow company, you said you met a CPA, but like did he mentor you? Did he show you like around the business, or that was something that you just really liked?
You know what? That's a great question. No, I did. She was not a mentor. She was actually, I just interviewed her because I was like, hey, the real estate market is kind of crashing. Like, what do you think of your career as an accountant? And one of the things she said is like, oh, I feel that I have a stable and secure job because every business needs an accountant. Like, you're never gonna basically go hungry. And I wasn't, I didn't have a mindset of being an entrepreneur. So I was like, I wanted safe and secure. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then I asked her a little bit about like what she did. She explained what she did, but I didn't really understand it. I just knew it was involved with numbers. And I was like, okay, I like numbers. And then when I got into school, I was like, dude, there's very little numbers involved in accounting, actually. It's like more about laws. Like, do you understand like basically the consequences? If you buy a real estate property, what are the consequences of, what are the tax laws around that? So it's like, man, I feel like I'm going to school more for like an attorney, to become an attorney than I am to school to actually learn math.
Numbers,
yeah. So that's like, you just need to like, as long as you know how to add, subtract, divide, and multiply, like that's all you need to be an accountant. There's not really,
now with Excel worksheets, now you don't even need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like accountants actually don't know how to do any math. Like people ask me and I'm like, I got to pull my calculator out because I was like, I understand like how to solve the problem, and that's what makes me a good accountant. But I'm like, if you ask me a hard multiplication, I was like,
do it manually or something.
Yeah,
we don't need to know that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, one thing that you just said that I love that you said was that you interviewed her. Right. So she was the one offering the job, but you said you interviewed her.
Yeah,
right?
I interviewed her because I wanted to know about what she did. Because I was like, dude, I'm about to spend 4 years of my life to go to school. Like my mom and my dad have different mindsets. Like my dad was like, why go to college? Like, you can be successful without college. And my mom's like, no, you need to go to college, mijo. Like, once you, like nobody in my family had a degree. She's like, if you have a degree, oh man, you're going to be set for life. And so I listened to both of their advice, and then now looking back, I'm like, they both had I think they both were right.
Well, you took the best of both, right?
Yeah, you took a mix of both, yeah.
Because realistically, you can obviously start businesses without going to college and stuff. But for your particular business, you do need the degree, right?
Yeah, you
can't be a CPA.
You cannot be a CPA unless you have you almost need a master's now.
Well, I mean, I can open a CPA office but not practice, right? As an investor, I guess you would be able to do that.
You could be an owner of a CPA firm. Yeah,
but you
just
can't
wouldn't be able to. Yeah, exactly. To actually sign off on the tax returns.
And so that's what you do. You actually do all the important stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have a team that helps me, but yeah, I'm basically in practice. Yeah.
So how big is your team?
We have 16 employees now.
16.
Yeah, and I started it with just myself. Again, I had to learn like the lessons the hard way, bro, because like I said, I didn't know, there was nobody in my family that knew about entrepreneurship. So like sales, even though everybody is selling like you're saying, I still had to learn how to sell, because I was like, I didn't know what a sales presentation was, how to present yourself in a way to communicate your value. Because I remember the first time, like I quit my job, I was getting actually paid 6 figures.
Well, how about we kind of backtrack a little bit and to just tell us how that happened. I know, but I want people to hear this. And so let's fast forward a little bit from you chose what way you wanted to go.
Yeah.
You go to college, you graduate in accounting, or what's the actual?
Yeah, accounting.
Okay, accounting. And then you get a job at a CPA firm, right?
Yeah.
You start working there for a few years. And then what happens then? How did you transition into?
So like I said, I was listening to like just YouTube and stuff. And then I saw an ad from Ty Lopez that talks about the 67 steps of entrepreneurship and life. And then I came across the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. And it was like, shoot, they're just using me as an employee to make them money. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? This is not fair. Like I need to be the owner. But it was just more of like a passion. Like it was just enough passion for me to eventually. And actually what happened, because I studied entrepreneurship. I was reading because I'm a book nerd and stuff. So I was like reading about it, but you don't actually learn it to actually do it. But I was reading about it, but I never had the guts because I was getting paid 6 figures. And so I had a good paying job. I mean, I was living comfortable. Like now I probably would have been making, like most people that stayed in a career are probably making $200,000 a year.
That's what your salary would have been?
That's what my salary would have been had I stayed in a career path. Now I'm making more than that, and I'm very thankful. But that's what I would have been. So it was very difficult for me to quit my job. And what actually triggered me to actually quit my job was I remember I had to run an errand after 5 o'clock on a Friday night, and my boss was like, had to get a project done that same night, which I understood. And I was like, all right, let me just go run this quick errand. It's only gonna take 30, 40 minutes. And it was important to me. Came back and he's like, hey dude, why the hell did you take that errand? Like, never do that again. My business is a priority over your errands. And for me, like, I was like,
was it brutal like that? Did he tell you?
Yeah, I still have I still have the text message saved because it was like what drove me. And I showed it to my wife, and she's like, well, you've been thinking about starting your business. Just put in your 2 weeks. So then I put in my 2 weeks. The next day, my boss comes in. He's like, there's no 2 weeks. Today's your last day. No. Gives me my final check. And so I started my business. And then and that's when I was telling you, like, I had to communicate my value because I was like, I remember the first business owner I spoke to, and he was like, oh, I only want to pay you like $200 a month. And I was like, shit, let me go find a job again. Like, I was like, Dad, I made the wrong decision here. You know, I'm like, I'm going from.
And then you mentioned something about your wife being pregnant or something, right?
Yeah. So then my wife, I ended up getting her pregnant somehow.
How does that happen?
So then, and then my wife was always like, she came also kind of like a Mexican traditional background. So she's like, hey, I want to make sure that that I stay home with the kids. I don't want to put them in a daycare. And so she's like, you only have 9 months to make your business work. Because she was pretty much maintaining the family because she had a steady paycheck. She was a 4th grade teacher. And so she gave me a deadline of 9 months. So I was like, shit, better get my ass to work. So I literally worked till I woke up till I went to sleep because I knew I only had 9 months to make it work. And I didn't want to go back to being an employee. You know, I didn't want to. Like, that's one thing about me is like, I don't quit until I get, you know, to my goal. And so I was like, I was going to do everything in my willpower to make it happen. And so had that 9 months came, and thankfully, you know, I was, you know, providing enough money to support the bill payments at the time. Fast forward to today, I mean, it's a multi 7-figure accounting firm. We're trying to hit 8 figures. So, it's been a blessing.
Oh yeah, bro. That's badass. How much of a pay cut did you take pretty much, do you think, like in your first year of business?
Oh, dude. I mean, I would say like 100% because everything that you make in your business is all being invested back into it. So like I was just taking enough money for me to survive. That's it. Like I was trying to like take as little as possible from the business because I know I needed to put it back in there for it to grow. Yeah. So I took 100% pay cut. I had a better lifestyle before I quit.
Yeah, for sure. At least you had a wife to hold it down though while you.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. Yeah, I mean, that's why she always says like, "Hey, this business is where it's at because of me," and she always used that against me.
That's funny, man. Yeah. And it's awesome because you know what? To be honest with you, I hear a lot of stories like yours of people that became entrepreneurs and then not necessarily failed, but we failed, right? And when you're failing, you had a wife to hold it down, and that's what kind of gives you the power to keep going, right?
Oh, for sure.
Because if your wife's like, you know what, man, you should probably, that wasn't the right move. We need fucking money. We need to do this. You should go back to your regular job.
Yeah.
What's the average person gonna do?
Yeah.
Because if you stay, chances are now you're having problems with your wife too, because she's like, I told you already, I don't want you to do that no more. You know what I mean? And so you have someone that really has your back and holds it down. That's a huge part of all of our success.
Yeah, right? 100%. I think, you know, the you have to have support at home, and you also have the seller on the idea too, because like I remember when I first quit my job, I put a sign out front that said tax preparation, and I had like balloons, and I had like I woke up at like 8. I was in the office by 8 o'clock. And then my wife calls me like around 10 and she's like, hey, how many clients have called you? And I was like, you're my first phone call today. And she's like, I don't know if this was a good idea. I think you should go back and ask for your job back. And I was like, espérame. I mean, it's been 2 hours.
Hey, you gave me 9 months and you trying to make her quit in 2 hours?
Yeah. Well, this was before we knew she was pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know, I think she had faith in me. She knew that, you know, I could hold it down. And so, you know, now obviously I think, like you said, you guys got to be a team, you know, because If not, it's like you go home and it's like you have more problems. You're like, you just went through, might have gone through some problems in your business. And it's like, you don't want to go to that at home.
That's really important, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a shit day at work
yeah.
or at your business, and then you still go home and have to put up with, bad attitude because they're mad that, you're not bringing in income or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
So that's huge, man. That's something that needs to be more, practiced. Like when you, let's say, husband and wife both work. When we come home, work's at work. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And sometimes that's something that we all need to work on because I'm guilty. I have a bad day at work and I get home kind of in a bad mood. My son wants to play with me and I'm kind of just pushing him off to the side, like, dude. And then it snaps, like, dude, it's not his fault. Stop being a douchebag.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a decision that we all have to make. It's like snap out of it. Yeah. And
it's hard for sure.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially when you care a lot about your business or your customers. It's like, that thought never goes away.
Yeah.
So it's
you
just
a drinker?
Just occasional.
Because that's sometimes what you got. Fuck, man, just drink a beer, forget about it.
It's a relaxer. I mean, I'll have. I try not to drink it all the time because then I don't want to get
you have to drink, bro. You're always on vacation.
I know, bro, but
my guy, hey, do you follow him? You need to follow him, bro. My guy's in Cancun. He's in Cabo. He's freaking all over the place. Niner game.
Yeah, bro. I like to.
He's gonna be in Philly this weekend.
Nah.
Call it networking, bro. You can write it off.
I know you can. But man, it's I think it's kind of now I'm at the point where I just want to enjoy life, because there's gonna, like I see my parents actually just recently retired and they're just enjoying life right now. They're just traveling all over the place, and it's like, why wait until you can't even, like, people are retiring, they can't even walk now. It's like now they have all the money in the world, but they don't have their health. So it's like you kind of have to have a balance,
Yeah. What's your right? We'll get into the taxes and stuff like that, and what we can do to help people prepare for buying a house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But real quick, what's your ultimate, like, end goal? Income. It could be income wise, or like, what do you want to be doing when you no longer have to work for money?
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now, I would say, like, my end goal, if you asked me 6-7 years ago, like when I first started my firm, was like, how can I get this business to operate without me? Like, that was always my goal, because I was like, especially when you're the CPA and it's like they come to you like, oh no, I want Joel to do my taxes. And it's like, oh, well, here's my assistant. No, I want you. And so, like, that was like the struggle. And so I was like, how I'm never going to be able to get out of this rat race of having this business run without me. And so that was always my end goal. Like, now I would say I probably only work 10% of what my firm does. Like, I'm basically now, I always tell people, like, I'm the Verizon of the business, or that now I think it's Sprint, the guy who says, like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? So I'm just the face of the company now. I'm the basically the personal brand, but I'm not the salesperson. I'm not the person doing your taxes anymore. I'm not, because I have a team. So
100%.
Yeah, so like,
and they're all just as good as you.
Yeah, they're probably even better than me because they do it all the time. Like, I used to probably I was good as them at one point, but you start not practicing it as much. My team's better than I am.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so now I'm just like the face of the company, and even eventually it's like I don't even want to be the face. Like, the owners of Verizon, they're not the ones doing those commercials.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's they hired somebody to be the face. Same thing with Subway and State Farm. Jake from State Farm. I mean, he's an employee of State Farm, and he's a face. So eventually, I don't even want to be the face. But that was always my goal. And then it's funny because once I hit that, like I said, I only do 10% of the company. Now it's like, I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm kind of bored now. Like, I was like, what the hell do I do? And so like now, as you know, I'm actually starting to build out a software. Like, I'm partnering with a software engineer that we're going to eventually use it at our firm, but then I'll be able to sell it to other accountants. So now I'm just, working on other projects. I think now it's not really about money. It's more about what makes me happy.
And you also have an academy, right?
I do, yeah. I have an online course called the Tax Savers Academy. And the reason I built that was because, I felt like in order for, like, our services are not cheap. Like, they start at a very minimum $500 a month. And so business owners that are making, like, say $50,000, $100,000 a year, like $500 a month, like, that's everything that I'm bringing in, And so, but I still, like, wanted to be of service to them. Like, how can I help them? And so I created an online course called Tax Savers Academy that basically walks through them, like all the stuff that we would have walked through with our clients, but at only $97 a month.
So that's a virtual training?
Yeah, it's a virtual training. And I try to, like, I have like probably, a few members in that program. I'm like, hey, if you have questions or like, you still have access to me. Like if you're part of my academy, I was like, I'll take care of you. You still have me as a tax advisor, even though you're not really part of my firm.
Of course.
Yeah. And then eventually they start growing their businesses. Like I have one member that actually he's been growing, and now he's like, hey Joel, I'm ready to pay that $500. So I'm like,
did
cool.
Good old Brad awesome, talk you into that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is that through his VT?
Yeah, it's through his VT. Yeah, through his training system. So yeah, I mean, it was something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to do an online course. It didn't really work out as I planned, because I wanted it to like be this huge like online training system, but I realized that most people prefer to work with their accountant one-on-one. So that's kind of what we've been focused on instead.
But I mean, I think it's just consistency, right? I'm sure if you keep it going and going and going, it'll grow. And of course, like who knows about most people? Everything's going virtual now.
Yeah.
And so if you have it and it's been consistent, and then little by little, everything keeps diverting to virtual.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be ready.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%.
And so question real fast. Yeah. How is Bradley? Yeah, you went on his podcast. Yeah. Everyone who listens to my podcast knows that I'm probably his biggest fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say Bradley, he's exactly the way he presents himself on social media. Like, he's not anything different. Like, he's exactly the same way. So he just keeps everything real. And he's been in the game for a long time. He's been in the game. I mean, that's why he has hundreds of thousands of followers, because he started his social media like way back before we did.
Well, fuck, he started virtual training how many years ago? 20 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Who was doing virtual training 20 years ago?
Exactly, yeah. And so, he's just been in the game for a long time, and he's obviously very knowledgeable. Like the tax questions he was asking me, I was like, dude, you know a lot about taxes. Like for you to ask me those type of questions, you got to know what the hell you're talking about as well. Huh? Yeah, so he just knows a lot about business. Like, he has other people that are, mortgage, life insurance, doesn't matter, solar, and he just understands the game.
Yeah, every person, you start to think like, this dude must do a shitload of research before you get there, but he just knows it.
Yeah,
like,
he just knows it.
Yeah, like I'm sure, because how long were you guys in the green room?
Oh, I mean, we were probably at least for over an hour.
But I mean, in an hour for him to know everything he asks?
Yeah, he was asking a bunch of tax questions that like most people wouldn't ask those questions because they don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know. And he was like asking me legitimate questions that were valuable to his audience, but it was because he was asking those questions.
Yeah, no, that's a huge, how'd you end up going to his podcast?
So actually, I needed, like I said, through his VT.
Okay, you needed the software or whatever.
Yeah, I needed the software, and there was other cheaper ones, but I was just like, you're a fan of Bradley. I was also a fan of Bradley, so I was actually talking to the salesperson, and he was trying to sell me on his the VT system, which wasn't cheap, and I was like, dude, if you get me on a podcast with Bradley, I'll sign up right now. and so then he made it happen. So I was like, but it's funny because we put it in the contract, and I was like, all right, cool. But then I was like, shit, I don't think I'm ready to be on this podcast. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I had to that's why I started my own podcast and started being a guest on other podcasts. So I was like, by the time I get to Bradley, I want to make sure I don't blow it,
Hey, 100%. So people have asked me, like, you like him so much, I'm sure you can somehow hit him up and even maybe pay a fee and he'll have you on his podcast. I was like, I know that's how it works.
Yeah.
I could be on anyone's podcast. I can go pay anybody whatever they charge and be on their podcast, but am I really ready for that?
Right.
Do I even have anything to offer for his audience?
Right.
You know what I mean? Other than like, this is where I come from. Like, yeah, dude, we've heard stories like that all the time. Like, we don't care about that. What are you gonna offer us?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think his following is a lot different than like if you go to somebody like Ed Milet.
Yeah.
Or somebody like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan and Ed Milet are more like people you just want to hear life stories.
Yeah.
You want to hear crazy badass stories.
Yeah.
With him, it's more like, this person can somehow benefit my business.
Yeah, you know exactly. I mean? Yeah, like there's somebody on there that has some type of skill that basically can help you. Like he had somebody else on there that was talking about how, and it kind of went along with mine. It's like he helps people invest in real estate, and then he says that he partners up with CPAs, so obviously they can help minimize his taxes.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, real estate and taxes kind of go hand in hand because, I mean, Donald Trump, the reason he pays no taxes is because of real estate. It's one of the biggest loopholes in the tax system is real estate. So
Don't say too much. They'll take it from us.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like you said, it's people actually trying to find, like, on his audience, it's people actually trying to get knowledgeable.
And I'm sure like the people that hit you up from being on his podcast, because we were talking about this off air, how it wasn't necessarily a huge growth of your social media.
Right.
You've already been growing it.
Right.
But more than anything, the few or many people that hit you up because of being on his podcast were like, hey, I'm interested in your service.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? Like, hey, I have a question about that. It wasn't just like, let me follow this guy because he seemed interesting. It was more like, I'm engaged. Like, I like this guy, right?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And I think people, like, when they saw that podcast that I was on with Brad Lee, like we were saying earlier, it just added a lot of credibility. And I think more than anything else too, it's like now, like for me, it's like, all right, well, why do I even want to grow a social media? Like, what's the whole point of it? And so everyone has different goals and different things. Like, but for me, it was like, well, yeah, I like getting new followers, but that's not the goal. Like, the goal is for me to get new customers, new clients.
Business, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, what good does this following gonna do for me? Like, it's no good if they're not turning into customers. Yeah. So it's like, I want to make sure that I'm monetizing it.
So your followers aren't just bots?
No. No, it's like, we get so many leads now, like, right? Especially obviously with tax season right now, it's even busier, but most of my leads come from online. Like, we don't do really any door knocking. We don't do any, like, we don't really do a whole lot of like local networking because we don't need to. There's enough leads coming in that it just keeps us busy.
It can always be bigger though.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Maybe you should hire someone that just goes door knocking.
Yeah, I probably will. Yeah, I probably will. Because I mean,
you don't want, and you don't have time to do it.
No.
So, but you can hire someone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much opportunity everywhere. It's just finding the right person for it.
Yep. So let's get into the important stuff.
Yeah.
How do I cheat the government?
There's so many ways, man. Like I always tell my clients, like, the tax code is over 47,000 pages. So like,
and you've read it all.
And I can't even read it all. It's like, there's just so many things that you can do that I think what there's a lack of is people don't know how to, right? So then the only way they know how to, unfortunately, especially for like Hispanics, right? It's like, well, I'm going to do things the way I know how to. It's like, hey, I'm only going to take cash, I only accept cash. And, I feel for them because I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. But I'm like, dude, you could like report all your income and then like still pay $0 in taxes. And then those people are the ones that are successful. Those are the ones that can buy houses. They don't have no problems because they're showing all their income on their tax returns. Versus you actually make money, but on paper you look like you're broke.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, why not actually show that you're rich and still pay zero?
So you're telling me you can do that?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Amazon in 2018 made billions of dollars yet paid $0 in taxes. Donald Trump made billions of dollars, yet paid only $750. It was all over the news. Why is it that they do it and then the Hispanic community can't?
Okay,
because they're not knowledgeable. They don't have a CPA like me.
Yep, 100%. Now, for most people that kind of in the background that we grew up in, well, at least ag, because up there in Watsonville, it's by Salinas and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's basically
okay.
ag.
So it's also ag, but over there it's what, like strawberry and stuff like that.
Yeah, strawberry and apples. Yeah.
So here we have grape and stuff like that, but most of us or most of our families get money back when they do their taxes because they don't file very much, stuff like that. But let's go for the little, I want to say the 1%, if not less, that are business owners or that are some type of 1099.
Yeah.
Question real fast. Would you consider a 1099 employee an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Yes? Why 100%.
Is that? Why is because that? They only make money if they deserve it. So, for example, an employee, all they have to do is show up to work and they're going to get paid. 1099 independent contractor, you get paid if you earned it. You got to either make a sale or you have to, whatever it is, it's all based on results.
You eat what you kill.
Yeah, exactly. So and then the IRS allows you to deduct business expenses because you're considered a business owner in the eyes of the IRS.
Okay, awesome.
Yep. So now you could write off this podcast. You could write off anything that is considered ordinary and necessary.
I told you. No, so all right. So as an entrepreneur, the small percentage of us that are in the business. What can I do if I'm trying to buy a house? I need a show, for example. Last year I fucked up and I filed negative $2,000 because that's what my uncle's neighbor's brother told me to do. Mm-hmm. Right. And so then I went to my loan officer in December and he told me, hey, dude, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You made no money last year, so you need to go report, $160,000 next year.
Yeah.
Of income. But now with $160,000, I got to pay back 16 to 20 grand, right?
Yeah.
Typically or traditionally.
Right.
You as a professional CPA,
yeah.
What do you recommend? What do I do if let's say that we're talking about me?
Yeah.
Right. I messed up 2021. I filed literally zero.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about depreciation. I'm talking about net income, net profit was zero.
Yeah. Well, let's say like 20 or something.
Well, was your income actually zero though, or is that just what you put on your taxes?
No. So let's say the line, I think line 6 or some shit on your Schedule C.
Yeah.
It says 50 grand.
Yeah.
But then
after
deduction, zero.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not saying that because most people don't make $0 a year. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But that's what they file.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then now they go to the loan officer in November, December, January.
Yeah.
And the loan officer says, wait, don't do your taxes yet.
Yeah.
Because we need a 2-year average.
Yeah.
Right? And right now your 2-year average is negative.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you recommend doing for next year?
I mean, I always tell my clients, first of all, it's better for you to how much money did you actually make, first of all? Because if you're putting zero on your tax return, I mean, like you say, not many people make zero. So let's
say someone really did make 100 grand.
Okay.
They took home 100 grand.
Okay.
After all expenses, but their tax preparer that they met across the street that was gonna charge them $50.
Yeah.
Did all this stuff and now they're at zero.
Okay, gotcha.
So they have no qualifying income.
Okay, gotcha. So I mean, there's so many ways for you to still qualify for a loan and show that you're rich on paper, but then it shows a negative loss. Obviously depreciation is one of them, right? So for example, and most mortgage people will add back depreciation because it's not considered a cash expense. So for example, someone if had $100,000 in your example of income, let's say you went to go buy it has to be a vehicle that weighs more than 6,000 pounds. Let's say you go buy, I just bought a Porsche Cayenne that weighs more than 6,000 pounds.
I'm telling you, dog. My guy's a baller.
You could buy a G-Wagon or whatever, right? It weighs more than 6,000 pounds.
What about a 1,500 truck?
Yeah, it could be a truck. As long as it weighs more than 6,000 pounds, it could be like a Silverado.
Okay, I got it.
So now, how much you put down on that truck doesn't matter. So you could put $5,000 down. You could have paid it off. You could have financed the whole thing. It doesn't matter. Because as long as you buy it, don't lease it. As long as you buy it, you can write off the entire purchase price in the year that you bought it.
You see, my tax person, no shade to them, told me to lease.
Oh, the hell no. Because if you lease it, then you can just write off your lease payment. But the CC is okay, let's say on December 31st, you're like, hey, Joel, I made $100,000. I don't want to pay taxes. Well, I mean, first of all, we only have one day to help you minimize your taxes because today's the last day of the year. But if you need a strategy, go buy a SUV, go buy a truck that weighs more than 6,000 pounds. It costs you at least $100,000. Now you're going to be able to depreciate all of it. So now your income on paper is going to be zero. But then when you try to go get a loan, they're going to add back all the $100,000.
You can do the whole price of the truck?
100%, as long as it weighs more than 6,000 pounds.
Shit. Okay, and I'm happy I bought my truck.
Yeah, and that's just one strategy, right? I mean, like I said, it's 47,000 pages, but that's one of the things that we can do, and it's that's how you can minimize and pay $0 in taxes.
Now that's a strategy that obviously you want to go with through the year, right? Like kind of have someone guiding you, like a CPA.
Yeah, exactly.
Telling you, hey, dude, you should do this, you should do that.
Yeah.
But let's say they didn't know about any of this. This is the first time they're hearing what a CPA even is.
Yeah.
And all these other years, they've been listening to their family or friends.
Yeah.
That just go to the person they've been using for 16 years that just plugs and play and lets it go. Would someone at your firm still be able to kind of help them?
Oh yeah, actually, we recently, as of this year, we will no longer do your taxes unless we can give you advice.
Okay.
Because we feel that we're doing a disservice, especially as a CPA, if all we do is just do your taxes.
So if I get there and I just say, hey, here's my 1099s, figure it out, you won't do my taxes?
We won't even do it. We won't even do it. We have a package now that includes quarterly advice. We're going to sit down every 3 months to say, hey, this is the things that you can do to help minimize your taxes. Because you're not going to go buy a G-Wagon every year. You're not going to go buy an SUV every year unless you want to, but it wouldn't make really economical sense. So it's what other things can we do? Maybe it's buying a rental property. Maybe it's forming an LLC.
At what? Obviously, I know the answer is going to be at any price, at any income.
Yeah.
But at what income, like, do you kind of say, okay, it's worth it for you to come pay our service?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, our minimum fee is $500. So if you can afford that, then already it makes sense. But for us, we don't want to be a cost to your business. We want to make sure we save you enough money in taxes where we pay for ourselves.
So 500 times 12 is what?
6,000 a year.
6,000 a year.
Yeah. So
fuck, that actually pays for itself. If you don't even have to make very much to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would always say like at least $250,000 in revenue, at least. Then it makes more sense to work with us.
That's before write-offs and any of that?
Yeah, just before revenue. $250,000 in revenue. Because now it's like it's going to be hard to write off $250,000 of revenue. Like you're not going to have enough expenses. Like you didn't spend enough money. So now it's like, all right, shit, I don't know what else to do. So then now it's when we come in and we help you reduce your taxes in more strategic ways.
Okay. And then someone who doesn't, but they kind of still want your advice and service, they can go to your academy.
Yeah.
And kind of, you teach all this stuff on there as well?
Yeah, you can. If you basically can't afford the $500 a month, or you're not making that much money yet, then you go to our online course, taxsaversacademy.com, and then I basically walk through all the stuff that we would have.
Taxsaversacademy.com, just like you spell it?
Yep.
Just like you hear it, I'm sorry?
Just like you hear it, taxsaversacademy.com, or you can just go to my Instagram, Joel Sandoval CPA, and there's a link in my bio. So
cool. You couldn't just put Joel Sandoval. It was taken, or you wanted the CPA?
I wanted the CPA, yeah, but I think it was taken too.
Yeah, I actually put I was like, who's Edgar Perez? There's no other Edgar Perez, but I had to put the.
Oh really? Yeah. Somebody else had it.
Yeah, someone else had it.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's a way that if you grow your social media, you can buy
them all or something.
Yeah, or
I'm sure you could. Yeah,
I'm sure you could, or you kind of get verified, right? And then when you get verified, they let you have the. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm working on verification right now, and the only reason I want verification is because there's always
scams.
Yeah, there's people creating fake profiles of me, and they're saying that they're Joel Sandoval.
I haven't gotten to that yet, so I'm not successful yet. But no, it's true. I'm being serious. Like Gabriel, they make all kinds of fake ones. Alejandro, Ricky, you. But that means you're gone to good stuff, right?
People, I guess so.
If anyone's trying to be you, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, I feel bad for my followers though, because then they'll hit them up and they'll be like, "Hey, do you want to invest in Bitcoin?" And I'm like, and then they're like, "Hey, Joel, is this you? Do you have a second profile?" I'm like, "Hell no, that's not me."
I feel like nowadays they should know better. Like it's so constant. Like if anybody direct messages you, it's a problem.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's a flag.
The shit is they're smart. Like if yours is Joel Sandoval CPA, they'll put like another O.
Yeah.
Or something.
They'll make it look super
and they'll be
similar.
like, "Oh shit, did you just switch or something?"
Yeah, and then sometimes it's like for example, there was somebody that I looked up to, and I was following him, and then he sent me a message and, "Hey Joel, can you call me real quick? I have a business opportunity." And I was like, "Oh shit, he hit me up." I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And then I didn't realize till after the fact that it was not him, and I was like, "Oh, it's a freaking fake."
You know what's fucked up about that? I get messages that I do get all the time.
Yeah,
like people that are like, you go to their page and they have like 1 million followers or something like that, and then they're like, "Hey dude, I have a great opportunity for you," whatever. And for all we know, it could be legit, but I don't reply because I'm scared of all this phishing and all that freaking, you know what I mean? All those scams and shit. So it's kind of fucked up, that
it is.
That goes down, because for all we know, we're missing out on some crazy ass opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like I have so much organic traffic now that's like, I just wait till they reach out to me. Like I just put out content and hopefully they get value from it. And then when they're ready, they'll be like, "Hey Joel, how do I book a call with you?" Or, "Hey Joel, I'm interested in working with you. What's the next step?" And then, once they're ready, I mean, because I don't want to push them either. Once they're ready, they'll hit me up and then we'll have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, because again, if you do hit them up, they might ignore you thinking that it's one of those fake ones and stuff like that. So it makes total sense, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, man. Cool. So, that's awesome. What are the plans for the future, bro?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get to at least 10 million, like an $8 billion CPA firm. So $10 million in revenue. And I kind of made my team excited, especially my managers, because I told them that once we get to 10 million, that I'm going to make them equity owners in the firm. And so they're striving. They're striving. So, I mean, for me, it's like once it's at 10 million, it's like I already have enough money. It's like if I gave it a little share, gave them some shares, it's not going to be a big deal for me because I'm already making millions, So I want to get to at least that. And then the sky's the limit from there. But that's where I'm trying to get to next. And this last year we made $2 million in revenue, so we still need 5x.
Gotcha.
But,
yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't. Don't they say that after the first million, it gets easier? It comes faster.
Yeah, it gets easier. Yeah, the first million is the hardest.
How'd it feel when you finally got your first no?
Dude, it was like the best feeling in the world. Yeah, like I applied for the 2 Comma Club award with Russell Brunson. I flew all the way to Florida to get the award.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was a great accomplishment.
So humbling, bro. Like, you're so humble, bro, for all the shit you've accomplished.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, thank you.
You know, someone would have a conversation with you and that you don't come off as like what you are, because you're fucking, you know, you're successful as fuck, bro.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, you know what, I came from. I just don't forget where I came from, you know. And I think that it's important for everyone to remember that, because it's easy to get, you know, feel egoistic and stuff. And I've seen people that hit 7 figures and then they're broke the next day too. You could lose it all. Mm-hmm. So you gotta stay humble. You know,
the thing is, if you're actually successful, you'll become successful again, right?
Yeah, you can get it back.
You take everything from a successful person.
Yeah, like it took me 5 years to build a 7-figure accounting firm. Like if I were to start it now, I could probably build it in 1 or 2 years.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Now, what you think you would have built it bigger, or like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, you would have done it in 1 or 2 years. What you did in 5 years, you would have done it in half the time.
Yeah, now
right?
I would.
But now knowing what you know, and knowing that it gets easier now. It doesn't get easier.
Yeah.
But you have more capital and make bigger power moves, right?
Exactly.
And so that being said, you said you want to get to a 10 million.
Yeah, 10 million. Yeah.
And then keep going, or is that
Keep
where you
going,
kind of
yeah,
just say,
keep
fuck
going.
it, like I'm good?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm already working 10% of the time in the business. So if we get bigger, it doesn't really affect me now. Like I remember I was having a conversation with my grandparents, because they're still having like old school thinking, and they're like, "Mijo, like if you get too big, like you're gonna not have enough time for us. You're not gonna have enough time for your family. Like you got to remember what's important, Mijo. Like your health, your family. You don't forget about that." And I was like, "Grandma, the more bigger I get, the more time I have for you."
Yeah, because that's your goal. That's what you're focusing
that's
on.
what so I was like, I'm sitting down with you having a conversation because I'm way bigger. If you would have asked me when I was doing everything, I wouldn't be here right now sitting down with you. So I'm like, and then she was like, just nodding her head. And then she's like, gave me a hug after that.
How many kids you have, bro?
I have 2 daughters.
2 daughters?
Yeah, 2 daughters. 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
You gonna strive for that boy?
I want to, bro. I want to, because I grew up playing baseball. And so I grew up playing sports, and I like, you know, my daughters are more like my princes. I want to take care of them, protect them from, you know, the world and stuff. And with my boy, it's going to be like, you know, let's do this, you know, but.
Scary shit, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
The world,
yeah. But my wife's already, she's like, I ain't having no more kids. She's like, if you can get pregnant, we'll have a boy.
Would you ever consider adoption?
You know what? I'm not sure. I've talked, my wife has brought it up, and I think for me, I don't know. It's just something about your own. Yeah, it's something about your own blood that makes it like more special.
Yeah, and I think it'd just be very hard for you to try to discipline a child that's not yours, and they tell you, you're not even my dad. Like,
yeah, exactly. You know? I mean, there's people that I'm so glad there's people that do that, but I think for me, I don't know if I have it in me, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
Yeah.
What do you think of? Do you have anything else on taxes stuff?
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain on a few other things, but
yeah, a little bit. I guess I just want to dive deeper, like into you becoming like, you know, like an employee to like a, you know, like a business owner and like a leader. Like, did you have any challenges when you? Obviously, of course, you had challenges, but like, what were your biggest challenges when you first got that role of like, okay, I have employees under me now.
Yeah,
I have to be able to have a strategy. And, you know, most important, like provide value to the team, right? So like, what were one of the biggest challenges in growing a team?
I would say the biggest challenge for me actually was culture. Because for me, I was always like, I'm a hard worker. I'm a driven by nature. Like that's who I am. And so I kind of expected my team to also be that way. And what I realized is that they're not. Like they actually need to be, like you said, nurtured. They need to be led. And so I had to learn like how to develop a culture. Like now I'm like super, that's one of the things I'm most proud about at our firm. Like for example, we just went to Universal Studios. I paid for everybody to go to Universal.
Sick.
I actually
should invite next time, bro.
I know, right?
I'll be part of your firm.
Yeah, even my barber is like, "Hey, you need a travel barber?" Like,
you don't need a loan officer in your office, or anything?
I know, right? Yeah, so we have events like that, and like I have a virtual assistant actually that's from Colombia, and so I flew her out all the way from Colombia to come to Universal, and it was cool to meet her, you know, in person, and she was super thankful. Like now she's gonna work even harder though, because she was like, "Hey, you know, I appreciated that you did that," and now it's like. I also create loyalty within my firm because it's like, hey, if I go somewhere else, I'm not gonna go to Universal. I'm not gonna like. We also went like had sweets at the Dodger Stadium last year.
Awesome.
We went on a cruise. We took everybody to a cruise, but
damn, that's sick.
Yeah, but it's all planned now. Like we tell them like we have to hit a certain amount of revenue for us to be able to pay that. I'm just not going to pay that for no reason. And so I think that's one of the things that was a challenge for me. Like now that's where we're at, but before it's like, dude, I can tell you a shitty story, dude, of someone that before all this, I had like hired somebody and we were having like a team meeting in the conference room, and then he had his paperwork. And he literally threw it down on the desk, and he's like, "I quit," in front of everybody. And I was like, embarrassing for me because I'm the leader, and I'm like, damn. And I think that, but I'm glad that happened, because if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have the culture that I have right now. Because I was like, shit, dude, like I'm obviously not doing something right.
Yeah.
Like he can't even like tell me discreetly, like, "Hey, Joel," he didn't even have another job lined up. He just quit because he didn't like working for me. It was kind of embarrassing.
You must be a bad boss.
I was. Looking back, I mean, I wasn't like rude or anything. I just wasn't making it a fun place to work.
You also probably didn't have a strategy behind being a team lead, right?
Yeah, I didn't.
So that's huge. That's one on the challenges that he's talking about. What was your biggest challenge, or what did you have to do to adapt being more of I'm not gonna call it a boss, but a team leader versus when you were independent? Because being independent, you create your own disciplines. You know, whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah.
But once you have a team of people you're trying to train, or you're trying to, create a culture in your office.
Yeah.
How do you kind of implement that? What systems how hard was it for you to create systems? Did you have someone that kind of talked you through it, or was it just more of like?
I did have someone that walked me through it. I had a coach that I had, but I think first of all, you have to have the right person to train, because if they themselves don't have that, like, they're not hungry or they don't have that willpower, it doesn't matter how much you try to train them, they're not going to want to learn it. So you have to have the right person. And then once you have the right person, then put your heart and soul into them, because eventually one day they're going to pay dividends back. And so, but the training that I had was like more on like how to create a culture and how to like make sure like have team events to have fun, like the more strategy behind it. But I think what I've realized is if you have the right people, like the business will take care of itself, because they now actually care more about, like, they care as much about the business as I do. Like, they'll wake up, they'll come in early, they'll work late.
Are they entrepreneurs or just employees?
They're entrepreneurs because I compensate them if they make a sale.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they get their bi-weekly paycheck, but if they made a sale, I'm gonna give them a piece of the pie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome, bro. That shows a lot about your leadership.
Yeah, bro. I've learned a lot about you just in these 45 minutes that we've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You have a lot of like, it looks like you have it all figured out.
I really don't, man.
Life's easy, right? Life's easy to figure out.
Trial and error.
Yeah, I mean,
how old are you?
I'm 35. Yeah, 35.
My guy's young.
Yeah, but I always, you always try to see other people that are ahead of you, right? Because that's what keeps you motivated. So I'm like seeing other people, like right now I'm trying to get to that 10 million. So I'm like, other people have figured it out. So I got to got to learn from them.
Who's your biggest inspiration?
I've had so many inspirations.
I mean, not like obviously kids and family, but I'm saying like a public figure that you say like, man, I love that guy, or like that guy really, or gal really inspires me, or like I look up to them. Or
I think to be totally honest, I don't think it should be one person. I think it needs to be multiple people, because everyone has a certain skill set that you could learn from. So I have like probably 20 people that I look up to, but because of maybe one or two things, not entirely. Because I don't want to be like them. I just want to maybe get one or two things from them that I'm going to learn from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, Grant Cardone, I don't want to be anything like him, but he's obviously has his own private jet. I mean, he's doing. Want him. Yeah, so it's like, all right, what did he do to make that happen?
So that's what's important, right? You're never going to agree 100% with anybody.
Right.
But if you could pick up small things from a lot of people that you kind of admire and look up to.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
and then you basically learn from it, and then you apply it, and then you become your own person, and this is me now.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain on some random-ass subject.
Yeah.
What do you think of all the censorship going on around social media, especially that you're trying to grow it? Like, are you kind of scared of what you post? I noticed that most of your content is more like tax-based and stuff like that, right? But I mean, like, do you ever post anything that you're like, man, that might be controversial? I mean,
the biggest thing that I think, like, I get a lot of pushback from, and because I have a lot of Hispanics that follow me too, and when I tell them, like, you should be reporting all your income. If you're a cash basis taxpayer and you're hiding all this money under the table, like that gets under people's nerves because they do it. Mm-hmm. And I
truth hurts.
Yeah, but I feel bad for them, because it's like, dude, that's why you're not getting any better. Like, if you really want to be successful, like we're at Levi Stadium, and I even took a picture of it, says no cash accepted. It's the opposite. And it's like, why is it that? And then you get out of Levi Stadium, and there's hot dog stand, and there's like only cash. Yeah. Only cash or Zelle. I don't want Venmo anymore because if I make more than $600, I'm going to be taxed. And we had Levi Stadium, no cash accepted. Why? Because they want to account for every penny. They want to make sure that they don't lose. They have more concern about people getting cash and then the employees put it in their pocket. They want to make sure that
because they know they can write everything else off.
Yeah, exactly. So and they can pay $0 in taxes because they have a badass tax accountant. So that's what I think is where I push people's nerves when it comes to censorship. And not necessarily, I don't think with Instagram doing that to me or TikTok, more like people just
what
saying,
are people going to think about it?
Yeah, more like F you, Joel. Like, I don't want to follow you no more. Yeah. And then it's like, but you know what? That's who I am, and that's what I stand for. So
that's 100%. Yeah, because I feel like we all, as for people making content or just starting in that realm. Yeah, it's like you're just so worried about like fuck, like this has to trigger something. Like you can have a perfect post, but like one word you say or like it's just gonna piss someone off.
Oh yeah,
well, no one's gonna like everything you say.
And I used to like. At first it used to get under my nerves a little bit, and I'd be like, "Oh, F the haters," and like, But now it's just like, you know what? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and it's like, and I think Grant Cardone actually said it's like, I want people to unfollow me. I want people to unfollow me because then that way my actual followers are actually fans.
Fans, yeah.
He learned that from me.
Heard him say that.
And it's true. It's like, you know what? It's like if you don't like it, we're probably not a good match.
Yeah.
When did you get to a point when you're like, you know what? I don't care if like this may cost me my business. Because there's some things that you like. At least I'm still in that stage where like if I post this, I feel like it's gonna cost me someone's business.
Yeah.
Like when did you feel that you got to that point?
I think it's more about because I don't think there's really a point. It's just more about what you believe in. Like yourself. If you really believe in it so much, don't be afraid of the reciprocation that you're gonna get because that's really who you are. That's really what you stand for. So why? Yeah, you're gonna get pushback. You might lose a little bit of business, but guess what? Those other people, there's some people that gravitated, and you just got more business. So and it's like don't be afraid of what people are gonna think because you know yourself what you believe in, and I think that should be your mission. And now it's like whatever people think doesn't really matter because if you agree with me, we're gonna do business together.
It's easier to be authentic, also, right? Like, I think it's hard. It's easy at first to like post like kind of what's trending and like, hey, you should post about this because it's gonna get you more likes. Yeah. But that's not really you. Yeah. Especially if you're like saying like controversial stuff that you don't really agree with. Yeah. For one, people can read bullshit, right?
Oh, right.
And for two, it's like you're watching your own video and you even cringe because you're like, that's not me. Like, why? So I think it's just easier on what you were saying is like, fuck it. Like, if I do lose those followers, I mean, you weren't right for me anyway. You weren't going to like my stuff. Yeah. You're one of those that just scrolls and like, look at this dumbass and keep scrolling. Yeah. Like, so, yeah, in a sense, I'd rather you unfollow me. Get so damn annoyed with my posts that you unfollow me because how many... it might be different for your business but maybe not. I think all businesses might be universal. But do a large part of your family and friends use you?
Use me? Like, what do you mean?
Like for your business?
Oh, not really. No, I mean, I have like, I have some family members that we do business with, but I would say in the beginning, everybody was actually, all my customers were my family, but then I started getting expensive. So then they couldn't afford me anymore. But
they could afford you, they just didn't want to pay for it.
Probably. But yeah, I mean, I still have some family members that I do business with, but I would say the majority of them do not. Yeah,
well, that's what I kind of was going at. Like, we're so focused on trying to make our current followers happy and post what they want to hear. Right. When our current followers that we got, and I'm talking about before our growth in social media, I'm talking about like people we grew up with. Our current followers don't even support our businesses. Right. So in a sense, it's like, why do I even want you to follow me? I'd rather try to trigger the people or target the people that are going to support my business. Yeah. And post what they want to hear. Yeah. Post who I am, because at the end of the day, whoever follows me, I want them to follow me because they're like, man, I really like this guy's content. Yeah. Versus like, here's this dumbass posting again. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's like when I signed up with Brad Lee, to be used as VT system, like I was already sold on it. So it was just a matter of like, hey, how am I going to get the funds to pay for it? But I already knew that I wanted to do business with them.
100%. So what can we leave everybody with, bro? Do your taxes right. Stop being a cheap ass and hire professionals, right? No, yeah, I mean, not that brutal, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, I think that first and foremost, like focus on growing your own business. Like if you're not a business owner, figure out how to become a business owner. And if you are a business owner, figure out how to grow it, scale it, and then eventually you're going to realize that you're going to need a CPA.
If you have a $200,000 salary job a year, should I open a car wash so I can write off some of my income?
100%. Yeah, I mean, it depends on it depends on your lifestyle, right? Because if you're making 200,000, right, how much of that do you need to live? Let's say I need 80 grand. Okay, well, what are you going to do with the other 120? Well, invest it in a car wash, you know, and that'll help you pay less taxes. But if you're living off 200,000, well, you're not going to be able to buy a car wash because you don't have no extra money.
For sure, bro. Where can people follow you again?
You can find me on Instagram under Joel Sandoval CPA. And then on there, you can click on the link on the bio if you want to schedule a call. If not, just follow me and you'll get some good content.
And then we said taxsaversacademy.com.
Yeah, taxsaversacademy.com.
How'd you get that? I feel like that would already be a thing. Like,
you know, I just checked for the domain on GoDaddy and it was available and I bought it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But did you do that way before you even were gonna actually? Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I had already bought it.
I was gonna say because I'm sure that's a popular one. It's very simple. You don't got to put no other crazy stuff in there.
Yeah, it was available and so I just bought it and then thankfully it worked out. I
think, and you could buy it and just let it sit there.
Yeah. You just got to pay like $10 a year to keep the domain.
I'll probably look into that. Well, glad to have you, Joe. Any last words for anybody?
Yeah, no. I think, you know, if you're a business owner and you want to start doing things the right way, or if you know a business owner and you think they could use some tax help, you know, just, you know, follow my page. There's no obligation. We start with a 15-minute phone call, free 15-minute phone call, and you know, if not, you know, if anything, just, you know, let's connect and just let's hit it off, you know, with the friendship.
See what we can do for each other, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, Joe. Thanks, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, brother.